All right, we're gonna go over some simple stretches to do at home, some of which you can lay down in a bed or on the floor, some you can do in a chair, and then some standing. So the first one that we'll go over is just great for those inner thigh muscles, especially if you have pelvic floor tightness or dysfunction. Those come all the way up and share that direct attachment with that first and second layer of the pelvic floor. So you're going to bring the feet nice and close to you. You're going to kind of apply a little bit of pressure down with your elbows. If you can, sit up nice and tall, and then you're going to lean forward. So you have that butterfly stretch here. You'd want to hold this one for 2 to 3 rounds for 30 seconds. If you need to modify it, if just sitting in this position is too much pressure for those inner thighs, you can tuck a pillow or wedge a pillow underneath either side of your knees. So we're just going to hold here. And try to sink a little bit lower as we're holding. And then to alternate or break up this position, you come onto your back to get some of those deep hip rotators in that glute region, and some of these guys towards the outside of the hip. You can bring one knee up towards your chest, and then you're going to cross the leg over to the other side. So you're just taking the bottom of your hand and you're just applying pressure right at the knee to create a little bit of tension or stretch. Same thing here, holding for about 30 seconds. And then go ahead and switch, taking the other leg, crossing it over, and bringing it down. And we're holding. Also in this position, to further target those deep hip rotators, in the back of that glute region, also attaching to the tailbone, sharing that attachment with pelvic floor. You could take one leg and cross it over. If you can reach through that leg and pull that leg up and in. There's that variation. Or just having it crossed, taking hand and kind of slightly tensioning out against that knee can provide a little bit of pressure to get that stretch. So you can hold there. Same thing for 20 to 30 seconds. And then you would switch. For this side, I'm going to do the version when you're hugging the leg up towards your chest. Circling back to that butterfly, we can also do this in this supine or laying down position. I'm totally gonna knock this bench over on myself if I do that right now. Where you just gotta have the legs sprawled out to the side. You could also wedge that pillow underneath either leg to decompress those inner thighs if it's too much of a pull. From here, we're gonna lay on your back. If you have a stretching strap, that might be helpful for this next one, because some people have a difficult time keeping their knees straight with a hamstring stretch if they're laying down. If you can reach with your hands, or you can use a stretching strap that you can get on Amazon, or even like a thick elastic TheraBand. So same thing, holding for about 20 to 30 seconds. We would do the same thing on both sides. If you want to increase the intensity a little bit and get a little bit of a nerve glide, for that sciatic nerve that runs from the back all the way back down the leg and toward the toes, you're going to point and flex the toes while you hold this position about 10 times. And then we would switch, bring the leg up towards the ceiling, holding for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then you can add in that nerve floss, where you're pointing and flexing the toe, almost like you're pressing down and up on the gas pedal. The good thing about this one is you can also replicate it in sitting. Let me grab my stool. All right. So if you're sitting in a chair, you do the same thing in a way, but you're extending, my foot looks giant from this angle, but you're extending your foot straight. You'll probably feel a little bit of a stretch in the back of the leg, and then you can point and flex the toe in that position. And then you can also do a hamstring stretch by sending one leg out in front of you, sitting up tall, and then leaning forward. You can try to reach for your toe. You don't necessarily have to. Just make sure you keep your back nice and flat so we don't cause any pain or discomfort up there. And same thing, holding for that 20 to 30 seconds. And then go ahead and straighten that other leg, sit up tall, and then lean forward. So these are good ones you can do at like a desk throughout the day. Another one for your inner thighs. It's tough in this room because I've got limited space, but you can send out one leg to the side, sit up tall, and then lean forward. If you have a desk, you can prop your elbows there and kind of almost like you're trying to pull your opposite hip away from that leg that's extended to get a stretch into that inner thigh or groin region. And then you'd be holding elbows maybe propped up on a desk. And then we switch to the other side, sitting up tall, leaning forward. All right, we're gonna hold a little bit longer. Same thing, 20 to 30. The reason we go for those longer stretches, you get more tissue changes if you hold for more of a static stretch rather than what we call a dynamic stretch, which would be if you're doing a dynamic warm-up before the gym or something, where you're doing quick lunges or quick hamstring stretches. So this is more lasting mobility. And we're gonna sit back up tall. You're gonna take one leg, cross it over, sitting up tall, and then leaning forward. This is similar to that one where you're laying on your back, crossing one leg and pulling it in towards your chest, that figure four, or that one when you're laying on your back, pressing out. We're targeting similar tissue here. You should feel that in the back of the hip or the glute area. And then we would go ahead and switch, leaning forward. with either of those. You could also hug that knee up and across, but I prefer this position. And then for our last one, it's more of a standing tissue stretch. If you have a desk or a countertop that's of about here, almost like a treatment table for when you go to physical therapy, you can kind of lean forward into a forward folded position. I don't have a desk in here, but leaning forward into a forward folded position. And then you're feeling a little bit of a stretch along the back of the hamstring area. If you sink shoulders down, or chest down between the shoulders, you'll get a little bit of more upper back extension mobility, which is great, especially if you're sitting a lot of the day and in a more hunched position. And then we can add a shift to one side, holding there for 20 to 30 seconds, getting a stretch in that inner thigh area. Right now I'm pulling that right hip away from the left, opening up through the hips. And the same thing to the other side. All right, I'm coming back to center. So with these exercises, with these stretches, I would aim to do 2 to 3 rounds of each one a day if you have the time. The good thing about the ones in the chair is you can factor that into whatever you're doing, whether it be working in the morning while you're drinking your coffee, or at night when you're trying to wind down. The ones laying down might be good to do in the morning when you're still in bed, or right before bed as you're trying to wind down for the night once you get into bed. And then those standing ones when you're cooking, maybe right after you brush your teeth at the countertop in the bathroom. So this video took about 12 minutes. If you did it all at once, it would take probably 35 plus. So that's why I like to break it up and stack it, if you will, with other activities you're already doing throughout the day so it doesn't feel as much of a chore. I hope this was helpful.